You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, Ozarks Technical College sees a $900,000 loss due to cyber fraud.
Now, before we get to our midweek rain, first off, bundle up out there. We've got wind chills in the 20s with the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And ground control to Major Kebab, a Turkish restaurant.
Oh, no! You did not!
I did. Turkish restaurant launches a kebab into space, making it a kebab from out of this world. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bogg. Cherokee County authorities investigate an overnight shooting in Baxter Springs. Shortly after midnight, Cherokee County deputies were dispatched to investigate a shooting west of Baxter Springs. According to the sheriff's office, emergency medical personnel transported a man to a Joplin area hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. This is an ongoing investigation. No further information has been provided at this time. We'll have more information on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, as the situation develops. Also breaking overnight, reports of a structure fire in Webb City. And this one happened just before 11:30. Webb City Police, Fire, and Met's ambulance responded to a 911 call at 614 North Walker in Webb City. Mutual Aid summoned Oronogo Fire and Joplin Fire for assistance. Authorities say the resident was not home at the time of the fire. Firefighters brought the blaze under control shortly after midnight. Missouri State Fire Marshal was requested to assist with the investigation. This is also a breaking news story. We'll have the latest details as they become available. Controversial Trump administration official is running for the U.S. Senate in Oklahoma. Scott Pruitt filed his declaration of candidacy paperwork on Friday at the deadline set for Oklahoma's June Republican primary. 53-year-old Pruitt is running to fill the unexpired term of Senator James Inhofe, who announced he is stepping down next year. Before being chosen by former President Trump to head the EPA, Pruitt served as Oklahoma's Attorney General and a state senator. He resigned from the EPA in 2018 amid a series of ethics scandals that included accusations of lavish personal spending on travel and office expenses. Pruitt joins a crowded primary field that includes Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen and former State House Speaker T.W. Shannon. Ozarks Technical Community College says it lost almost $900,000 in a cyber fraud incident. Federal authorities are investigating the criminal act. Joe Hickman reports from Springfield on what happened.
Considering that OTC is a public community college established 32 years ago by a vote of Springfield residents and the help of 13 area school districts, today's news that the school had been a victim of cyber fraud caused a strong reaction.
This was an attack on every man, woman, and child in Southwest Missouri, and we're angry about it. We're embarrassed that it happened.
The school got swindled out of nearly $900,000 from its general fund when criminals succeeded in impersonating one of the school's vendors online.
A vendor is someone who sends us bills for products, materials, computers, whatever. We had a criminal who had impersonated a vendor, and instead of us paying the vendor, we paid the criminal.
There was some good news, though, in that this was not a case of the school's computer system getting hacked or ransomware, where hackers shut down an entire system until they're paid money.
It does not affect our students, our employees, our staff. No one got into our systems. No one got personal data. We've had other colleges in this state in the last 5 years who have lost control of the data, had to shut the college down, cost them millions of dollars. So we're pleased that our cybersecurity that we teach worked well for the institution.
Yes, ironically, OTC just started a cybersecurity program this year. And this is just another example of why students who get a degree here will have no problem finding jobs.
So it went from robbing trains to banks to now it's all digital, where somebody from the armchair or their basement can do the same kind of crime. We're training our students to go out to help protect both corporate and customer.
People need to realize that there's a lot of ways to attack you. One way is to go in through your computer system, but there's also other ways.
Don't click on random links that show up in your email. Don't give people information over the phone that your bank's never going to call you and ask you for your password.
And as our society becomes increasingly more dependent on the digital world, the chances of becoming a victim of a cybercrime keep increasing.
No one is immune and everyone should be aware.
They don't leave their house without locking the door. So take those same precautions with your digital footprint.
OTC has filed for insurance to cover the loss. Well, the YMCA in Pittsburgh had its first annual Easter egg hunt underwater. Children had the chance to hunt Easter eggs a little different this year. You could collect the eggs on top of the water or dive to the bottom to collect as many as you could. There were craft tables set up as well, and every child went home with a goodie bag.
Excited that we get to meet some new people and invite some folks into our facility that maybe aren't here otherwise, but really at the end of the day I think it's just a celebration of our families and our kids getting to come together and enjoy their time together.
Over 80 kids joined the underwater Easter egg hunt. Animals at Buen Zoo outside of Chile's capital, Santiago, celebrated Easter Sunday with a special treat they found inside painted ostrich eggs. Cool. Meerkats and tapirs were among the animals treated to mark the Christian holiday. The zoo director said it was stimulating for the animals to have to work to find their food. He added the colorful celebration was also a show for the attraction's visitors.
Those eggs are huge. What are those ostrich eggs you said?
Do they say what they put inside the eggs?
No, not that I heard. Did you say those are ostrich eggs? Though?
Ostrich eggs.
I'll be darned.
Is that lemur trying to sit on an egg?
I think he was ready to sit on it.
Yeah.
Did you partake in any Easter egg hunts?
Not this weekend. Last weekend, yes. We
Yeah,
did
I knew last
big
weekend was a very
Pittsburgh one.
popular
This weekend was a busy filled soccer in the morning, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
For those of you that have Easter egg photos that maybe you'd like to send in, feel free to send those to Tanya via
yes, I
Facebook.
did. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We had our annual family Easter egg hunt.
So you did take part in an Easter egg.
Yes, we had about 75 eggs hidden in my restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, the Easter bunny. I unlocked the door at like 4 a.m. so that he could get in and hide
75 eggs?
There's still 8 missing. We couldn't find 8 of
Please
them.
tell me these are the plastic eggs that the
Yes.
Easter bunny put down, and they're not.
But
We're not going to like do
if any
the
patrons want to come in on Wednesday or Thursday, and they may find some
find the eggs.
jelly beans or Krabby Patties.
There's a surprise for you if you find one of those eggs.
I think one's stuck inside a pool table, possibly.
That also that goes to show you folks when you are extremely busy on weekend, you're running kids around and whatnot. Sometimes you just completely lose track of.
I got the count of how many eggs there were, but we did not
And we
reach
came up
that
short.
number. We were 8 short.
At least
we
you
looked.
didn't. At least you didn't use real eggs. And yeah,
would've been
you'd
bad.
have a little bit of a different issue on your hands.
Yeah.
Tanya, we're finally starting to see just a little piece of blue sky. This is outside of Television City. Now over 7th and Rangeline, we'll take that tower camera here in just a little bit, but that one's still obscured with mostly cloud cover. It's chilly when you walk outside. These are actual temperatures. We were able to stay above the freezing mark at least for this morning. That's going to change for tomorrow morning though. But as it ranges between 38 and 41, that means wind chills are in between about 28 and 34 right now. Here's a Skywatch storm tracker. We've been picking up little dots of rain. That right there, that's a little deceiving. That upper atmosphere says, yeah, that wants to flip over. But I just went and checked with a couple of people that I know that reside in that area, and they said, no, we have not seen any snowflakes as of yet. And even if you do see a flake, that's what it'll amount to. We're not talking about widespread snow by any means. But it is an indicator of how cold we are and how cold the upper atmosphere is right now as well, because our average high this time of year would actually be around 70 degrees. Well, we're going to end up in the high 50s. That's about it. We stay dry for today, but for tonight into tomorrow, look at this. We're going to put up frost advisories and freeze warnings for Monday night into Tuesday. And coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, we're going to break down our midweek rain, but at least it comes with a little warm up.
All right, well, I got to get my yard mowed before tomorrow afternoon. That's the plan.
Unless you're like those people that we did the story on earlier this morning, folks, on the KOAM Morning News. We did a story about this
Let it
group
grow.
encouraging people not to mow their lawns.
Yeah, I don't think my neighbors would be too happy with
Right.
it. Yeah, probably not. All right. I've just been waiting. And it's tough when you have to like fit your schedule, make your schedule match the weather forecast.
No, I tell you what makes it tough. It's tough to get your lawn mowed when you're still missing 8 Easter eggs and you spend your afternoon hunting for them.
Oh, those are indoors. They'll be fine. And there's no chocolate in them, so even better. Yes. All right, thanks, Michael. Broadway extends the mask mandate but drops its vax requirement. And later we meet a person who wanted to join the Army and had to lose 145 pounds to do so. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. New studies show long nails could leave you vulnerable to fungus and bacteria that get trapped underneath. Ew. One study even found MRSA, an antibiotic-resistant bacteria that can cause serious infections in hospitals. Researchers say you can transfer the bacteria into your system by scratching yourself, picking your nose, or sucking on your fingers, because we all do this. A nail tech who specializes in super long Cardi B style nails says she's never had a client have an infection because they know how to take care of them and keep them clean. And that's why you trim your kids' fingernails. Broadway has extended its mask mandate through May, but some theaters are relaxing their vaccine requirements. The Broadway League, which includes the owners and operators of all 41 theaters, made the announcement on Friday. The league said the mask requirement will go through at least the end of May. However, many theaters will no longer require proof of vaccine after this month. The ongoing struggle to get kids to eat a healthy diet and more evidence that smoking is harmful to your health. Kate Smith has a look at some of the day's top health stories.
A joint study at Georgetown University and the University of California, Riverside once again confirms that smoking shortens lives. Researchers found the mortality rate among current smokers was 3 times higher than for people who never smoked. They also found wealth had an impact on lifespan. Surviving from age 65 to 85 was 19 percentage points higher for Americans with at least $300,000 in assets. Getting kids to eat healthy has never been easy, and a new national poll shows 50% of parents regularly give their children dietary supplements, mostly multivitamins. Doctors caution it's important for parents to discuss with health providers which supplements they are using to make sure their children are getting all the nutrition they need. And new research finds many doctors incorrectly believe all tobacco products are equally harmful. Researchers say that's preventing many physicians from recommending e-cigarettes to help people quit smoking. The FDA has not approved e-cigarettes as a cessation device, but the study at Rutgers University found combustible tobacco is more dangerous than e-cigarettes. That's a look at some of the day's top health stories. Kate Smith, CBS News, New York.
Baby bear cubs are released back into the wild after spending 6 months under the watchful eye of the San Diego Humane Society's Ramona Wildlife Center. The center has been prepping the cubs for this day by minimizing human interaction and moving them to an outdoor enclosure. 3 of the orphans are sisters rescued after a bear believed to be their mother was killed. And the 4th is a male bear rehabilitated after being found with burned paws during the Dixie wildfire. Aww.
They're cute.
Glad they were able to help them out.
All right, Tanya, let's shift our tower camera down to the south because now we're starting to break and get some blue sky over Television City, so that's a welcome sight. But then as we continue the 7th and Rangeline and we push down to the south, there's that heavy line of clouds. Now, no precipitation falling out of that, but at least we're starting to see a little break over the intersection as well. Jacket up today. 38 degrees is where we stand right now at Joplin Regional Airport. We are picking up some slight precipitation up in our northwest. Part of a bigger line that actually moves from north central Kansas, breaking up really right as it crosses the state line right here. We haven't seen much in the Nevada area, but you'll get a raindrop, some drizzle, some sprinkles, call it what you will. And that stretches really from Nevada to Fort Scott in between Iola and Chanute. Now, it's not going to last all day though. One thing that is going to last and is widespread is the cool. Look at this, 41 in Miami, 38 in Fort Scott, and Carthage, only 41 in Chanute. And those are actual temperatures. Our wind chills right now ranging in between, say about 29 to 35 because of that north wind. There's that band that follows the jet stream, but once again, with the high pressure on us, it's not going to have much of a bearing. And that high pressure, as it moves in and through the 4 states, will present us with some afternoon sunshine. Just not really much of a warm-up with the cooler temperatures working in from the north. So we'll go about 57, 58 degrees for today, and then even colder overnight into tomorrow morning. That's right. We're going to have frost advisories and freeze warnings for tomorrow. So if you have any plants that you want, any vegetation, bring it back in for one more day. Tuesday afternoon, we begin scattered rain, and then Tuesday night into Wednesday. Here we go. Now we're starting to pick up some thunderstorm activity that's going to carry us through most of Wednesday when it becomes much more widespread, and we get some of those pockets of heavy rain Wednesday morning all the way through the afternoon hours. That is comboed with a warm-up, so our temperatures will be much better. But get ready to have the umbrella with you from really Tuesday afternoon all the way to Friday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Got a Turkish restaurant that served up what they're calling an out-of-this-world dish because they attached a kebab to a helium balloon and then sent it up into space. Jeannie Moose with a look at the latest oddball object to go into orbit.
This isn't just lunch, it's a launch, the kind that goes into space.
Lift off.
Maybe this spicy kebab from a restaurant in southern Turkey didn't attract cheering throngs at liftoff. But it did get a countdown. The restaurant Kaburgachi Yashar timed its kebab launch to celebrate the 61st anniversary of the first human orbiting Earth, a Russian cosmonaut. And though the veggie garnish immediately fell off, the kebab was lifted towards the heavens by a helium balloon, joining other weird objects likewise launched, ranging from a beer to bobblehead Obama. Buzz Lightyear actually made it into space by hitching a ride, and SpaceX unloaded a Tesla that's still floating around up there. But it's not easy climbing at least 62 miles above Earth to where the boundary with space is often drawn. The kebab only made it around 25 miles up before its balloon popped. The restaurant owner tracked the kebab using GPS to where it splashed down in the sea. 75 miles away from the launch site, it was easily retrieved. The kebab may have been too waterlogged to serve diners, but its return was celebrated as if it had landed on the moon, a definite space oddity.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Make that Major Kebab. Jeannie Moose, CNN, New York.
So was the kebab not any good if it splashed down and no marine animal wanted to eat it? And after all, maybe it all is rocket science. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Jim Walker. Walker served in the Marines as a Master Sergeant. He served from 1959 to 1979, served as the Marine Corps liaison for the Army in Rock Islands, and did 2 tours in Vietnam. During his service, he earned the Nacy Accommodation Medal. His hometown, Neosho, Missouri. We thank you, today's four-state hero, Jim Walker. A West Virginia high school graduate had the dream of joining the Army after graduation, but when he weighed in at 365 pounds, he was worried recruiters would not take him. Now instead, they helped him with a diet and exercise plan that turned him into a lean, mean fighting machine. Robert Castillo has his story.
Caden Puntori is a graduate of Princeton Senior High School. When he graduated in 2022, he realized college wasn't for him. He went to the Armed Forces Career Center, but he weighed in at 365 pounds. The Army will not take soldiers who are morbidly obese, but recruiter Sergeant First Class Michael Keithley sat down with Puntori and put him on a path to lose the weight.
So a lot of what we do here is coaching and mentoring, especially with these young men and women that are looking to join the military service. So a lot of it with us was adjusting his diet plans, helping him come up with new workout plans, when he'd hit his plateaus, and keep him from giving up and stuff like that.
I got up every day, went to the gym, worked out about an hour and a half, 2 hours every day with a lot of cardio and just sticking to it in my diet plan. Just mainly eating a lot of grilled chicken, vegetables, and just trying not to eat junk food and just staying healthy and drink a lot of water.
Puntori lost 145 pounds. Now he's fit and a lot trimmer at 220 pounds. This is his first full day as an enlisted Army recruit with a military career path to become an aviation operation specialist.
I mean, this journey is not impossible. Caden here is proof of that. So to anybody else that's looking or thinking that, hey, I weigh too much, or I have too many medical issues, or the Army wouldn't accept me, you don't know unless you try. I mean, I'm willing to help anyone out who truly wants to be here. If they show that dedication, the same dedication this young man showed, we'll help them along their journey as well.
Just stay motivated and it'll come, your time will come. Just stay after it and just make sure you have the right group of friends around to make sure you're on top of everything.
Caden will deploy to boot camp in September.
Caden says he also credits his family in helping him with his weight loss goal. If he reaches his goal, he will become responsible for scheduling aircraft missions and keeping the planes running safely and efficiently. We wish him the best. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Bright Futures Joplin stops by our studio to talk about their Guns and Hoses event coming up at Joplin High School. And the I Am Joplin Mural is down. But what does the future hold for where the old mural was? We'll have the update on what's going to happen to it. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Cherokee County authorities investigate an overnight shooting in Baxter Springs. It happened shortly after midnight. Cherokee County deputies were dispatched to investigate a shooting west of Baxter Springs. Now, according to the sheriff's office, emergency medical personnel transported a man to a Joplin area hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. This is an ongoing investigation. No further details have been provided at this time. And we'll have the latest information on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com as the situation develops. Also breaking overnight, reports of a structure fire in Webb City. Just before 11:30 Sunday night, Webb City Police, Fire, and Met's ambulance responded to a 911 call at 614 North Walker in Webb City. Mutual aid summoned Oronogo Fire and Joplin Fire for assistance. Authorities say the resident was not home at the time of the fire. Firefighters brought the blaze under control shortly after midnight. Missouri State Fire Marshal was requested to assist with the investigation. This is also a breaking news story. We'll have the latest details as they become available. A woman now faces charges in a deadly Ymca hit and run that happened back in February. The Ymca police named Mindy McBrien as the suspect in the case. On February 5th, officers were called to Seth Owens Boulevard. That's where they found 58-year-old Kwang Jing Yi. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. And now McBrien is charged with second-degree manslaughter and leaving the scene of an accident with fatality. Rolla, Missouri man dies after he was hit by a semi. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, Randy Hance was beside a parked semi on a private drive off Chappelle Drive in Monette, Missouri. Another semi hit the parked trailer and then struck Hance. He died at the scene. 3 sheriff's deputies are shot and the suspect killed during a confrontation on Friday in central Kansas. Cowley County Sheriff says the deputies were following a car that had been reported as suspicious. Sheriff says shots were fired when deputies contacted the driver on US 77 north of Winfield. 3 deputies were taken to a hospital. All are expected to recover. A lone person in the vehicle, a woman, was killed. The sheriff said he did not immediately have information about what led up to the shooting. A crash in Joplin over the weekend results in multiple injuries. It happened Saturday afternoon at the intersection of 20th and Wall between a minivan and a motorcycle. Police say 2 people in the minivan were taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the bike was taken to a local hospital in critical condition. Joplin Police Major Crash Team is investigating the crash. High schoolers with the Youth Volunteer Corps in Joplin gave their time at the Ronald McDonald House on Saturday. The group helped beautify the outside of the building by raking leaves and pulling out weeds. They volunteer twice a month during the school year. They say they hope to beautify the space for families staying at the Ronald McDonald House.
The families who are here with sick children use this courtyard as a peaceful place. So we're just making it look nicer and more peaceful by removing the weeds and such to just make it a nicer spot to be.
Well, forget about a vending machine for sodas and snacks. This is a vending machine for books, and kids at Wisconsin Elementary School are loving it. 2 teachers at Sherman Elementary and Eclair got the idea from another school. Every book costs 1 token, and students can earn a token when it's their birthday or for being good. Teachers say there are some low-income families with kids at their school, so this is a great way to get them reading. The machine was about $5,500. It was paid for with Title I funds. Officials plan to apply for various grants to pay for books down the road.
That is a marvelous idea right there.
Smart.
Probably give them away for like good behavior and things of that nature as well, I would bet you.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Not sure.
that is neat. And I do remember us doing a story about another school district that had something similar to that. So maybe this catches on nationwide. All right, Tanya, we're starting to see a little break in the clouds over 7th and Rangeline. Now it'd be nice if we could get a little warm up because it's chilly out there. 38 degrees right now. Only feels like it's 33 at Joplin Regional Airport. And we've been tracking this small little band that has moved into the northwestern section of the 4 states. Very light, about sprinkles, sometimes a drizzle, if you will. Very few parts of it have moved across the state line. It's kind of been stuck in southeast Kansas right there. So it does kind of break up before it's widespread. Even where we are seeing the rain, even where it's dry, it is cool. Average high this time of year would be, 70s for the afternoon hours. And here we are starting in the high 30s, low 40s. And because of that north wind, we are kind of stuck there all day long as the jet stream grabs that cold Canadian air right here and sweeps it all the way through to the deep southeastern portion of the United States to the point where we're only going to be in the high 50s. And it gets cold overnight once again. Look at this bottom panel right here. We're talking about breaking out the frost advisories and freeze warnings for Monday night into Tuesday morning. Now, we're going to be dry today and get some afternoon sunshine, but then Tuesday afternoon, here we begin to pick up with light scattered shower activity for the afternoon and evening hour as Tuesday night whips into Wednesday morning. Then we start to see the heavier rain combined with the thunder and lightning that brings us thunderstorms. And you notice on our timeline here, Wednesday morning all the way pretty much through, at least we get a little bit of a warm up. Kind of revert back to Tuesday morning here. There's our frost advisories and our freeze warnings. But once we get started here Tuesday afternoon and get the thunderstorms on Wednesday, you'll notice those are going to hang around. So at least we get a little bit of a warm up on our hands. Coming up next on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, two of our good friends, John Boyd and Larry Warren, back in the studio. We're going to talk about a marvelous fundraiser for not only Bright Futures Joplin, but also a way to support our first responders. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. John Boyd, Larry Warren, and we were just joking during the commercial. It is so nice to have you back in the studio. Good friends of the show, known them a very long time, and they're here representing Bright Futures of Joplin because every year you have an event that is your biggest fundraiser. It's casually known as the Guns and Hoses game.
Absolutely.
And for those of you that may not be familiar, it pits the police against the fire on the basketball court. But more importantly, Larry, how do you describe what Bright Futures has done to students in the 4 states?
You know, Bright Futures started about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago now, and we have been able to provide so much assistance for the kids. We do snack packs, we do shoes, we do clothing when they don't have it. And so the program itself has just been spectacular.
John, if we go back a decade in your role as the pastor of a church and also as a board member of Bright Futures, when you reflect back to the youth a decade ago and see the impact that it's made in their lives, what does it mean to you as an organization?
You know, being able to help a kid come into the classroom ready to learn. If they have a blown out shoe or ill-fitting clothes or whatever it is, it affects that child in their way of learning, and it distracts their attention in the classroom. You know, we have seen a lot of changes come through in the way that we help kids, whether it be hygiene products, whatever it is. It has really changed over the 10 years that this has been around. It was tornado time around that time when it started, before tornado actually. So it is a whole different set of rules right now. So in the way that we help.
Larry, John brings up the support that you were able to provide the youth post-tornado, and now we're coming off post-pandemic. From a Bright Futures perspective, how difficult was it for your organization to deal with the lockdown, to deal with the donations, to keep the mission and the margin going to support the youth?
Yeah. You know, we had to readjust the whole program, basically, because we were so used to having volunteers going into the school and helping with the kids and everything. And so we had to basically change the whole program. But Sarah Coyne, our director, She has done a fantastic job. She's been able to take the program to a new level for us, and she was able to make the pandemic not as bad as it could have been for us.
And it's a great thing about Bright Futures, the ability to pivot and keep that mission going. So now, John, we transition, because I'm not saying we're restocking the cabinet, but once again, Guns and Hoses is the biggest fundraiser of the year. And while it's really neat to pit the first responders each other on the basketball court, people that haven't been to Guns and Hoses may not realize there's so much more activity and entertainment inside of that game as well.
Yes. Yeah, so besides the game, we have baskets that we raffle off. There are so many food vendors that provide us free meals, whatever it is. The half-court shot, we pick 10 people out of the crowd by ticket number, and they can shoot for $500. We had a kid last year win it, first time ever. Yes, he hit it, and so he was actually one of the officers' kids, correct?
I'll be done.
Yeah, he hit it, and it was a no doubt shot. When he let go, everybody's like, "Oh man!"
And so once again, yeah, the entertainment is there on the basketball court, folks. But also too, it's just an extremely fun night. And also too, when you're sitting in the gymnasium, or maybe you reflect about it on your way home, all the help that you've provided Bright Futures, because Larry, when we talk about the game and whatnot, you still keep this so family friendly. The fact that you cap, there's an admission cap, if you will. If you can kind of explain how important it is to make this affordable to families.
Sure. What we started doing is all school kids get in free, and the cost of tickets $5.
Let's go over that again. All school kids what?
Are free.
Okay, folks, all school kids free. That's amazing. Yeah. And then our tickets from there?
I'm sorry?
$5?
$5 for the parents or the adults. All the money will go back into Bright Futures. Now this year we're doing something a little different, because we're going to take half of the money and we're going to start scholarship programs in the names of Jake Reed and Ben Cooper, who we all know passed away after the incident on March 8th.
So I'm just finding this out, and I'm not going to lie to you, I just got goosebumps right there. Bright Futures is going to set up a scholarship fund in the name of our fallen Joplin police officers. And John, I turn to you and I ask you, because while this is a night of fun, this coming off of what is tumultuous is an understatement about what the Joplin Police Department has been through lately. What does it mean from a community standpoint to be able to go out and thank an officer?
I'm a little closer to this situation because I'm a chaplain for the Joplin Police Department. These guys are hurting. Whether they know it or not, they are hurting, and we were all reeling from that day. And doing this will help us build up future law enforcement officers, the numbers. So this money will go to young people that want to become law enforcement officers.
And it's such a fitting tribute that Bright Futures would use Guns and Hoses to kind of start this off. So John, thank you. Thank you for that. Larry, give us the particulars one more time so we make sure we're not late on April the 30th.
April 30th. The doors open at 5:30. The game will start roughly at 7. We'll do a slight memorial before we start.
Very kind of you.
We'll play the game, we'll have some fun, we'll give away some stuff, and we'll raise some money for a good cause.
And once again, we're at Joplin High School. That's where that's taking place. Yes. And I would just want to reiterate everything that Larry and John said. School-age kids are getting in free.
Correct.
All your donations are helping support the youth of the 4 states become achieve in the classroom, and really think about how much they're the cornerstones of our future.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I want to thank you gentlemen and thank Bright Futures for thinking about those fallen officers and setting up a scholarship in their name.
Yeah,
that is absolutely tremendous.
Absolutely.
And of course you can find all these details on KOAMnewsnow.com as well. Larry Warren, John Boyd, it's so great to see you guys. Can't wait to look seeing you guys on April the 30th. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Soaring prices, shortages, and now bird flu. They're all impacting the prices of some of your favorite Easter basket items. And those who celebrated the holiday could see a price hike for Easter Sunday meals too. Gene Sullivan has a closer look at how this could impact your holiday budget.
This Easter 2022, retailers are hopping through several hurdles, from inflation to shortages, and now bird flu.
It's one thing after another.
Wholesale egg prices are surging due to a nationwide bird flu outbreak.
2015 was the last time we had a big outbreak, and it really does cause a spike in egg prices.
According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, on Thursday, retailers paid between $2.80 and $2.89 for a dozen large-grade A white eggs in the Midwest, which is the benchmark for the nation. That's more than double the roughly $1.25 they cost in March, according to an industry analyst. The analyst says this likely won't impact consumers immediately because retailers often take a loss. One expert says even when prices do increase, consumers aren't likely to pass up eggs.
There's not a lot of flexibility in the demand for eggs, which means the prices really have to jump to ration what we've got.
And it's not just eggs. Turkey and chicken prices could go up, and availability could drop if birds at enough farms are infected. Experts say companies would need to shut down plants, leaving orders unfulfilled.
We sometimes forget eggs are in lots of things that we buy.
Even without the bird flu concerns, the price for Easter dinner is higher than ever this year. Consumer price inflation in March jumped 8.5% on an annual basis. Despite all that, the National Retail Federation says consumers are eager to celebrate, with the average person spending around $170.
Roughly 80% of Americans are planning to celebrate the holiday this year, just as many as we've seen in years past.
I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
So far, according to the USDA, the bird flu has been detected in at least 24 states. We're going to be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
The iconic I Am Joplin mural in downtown has been taken down. But what's going to happen with it next? That's still up in the air. KOAM's Chris Warner shows us how the original plans upset some Joplin residents and why the Downtown Joplin Alliance has made a change for the mural's future.
I Am Joplin is a photo mural put up at 6th and Main in downtown by Art Feeds back in 2013. Funding came from a $500 grant and around $3,000 in community donations. It featured photos of residents holding signs saying "I am" and a phrase that best described them. On Thursday, the Downtown Joplin Alliance announced the mural was coming down and would be auctioned off. Some residents took to Facebook following the announcement, expressing concerns about auctioning off the 52 individual panels. One resident expressed concerns about a photo of her daughter being auctioned off to a stranger. Others had concerns about breaking up the mural, including Joplin resident Joshua Bard.
What they do with it is what's the most important, I think. You know, it's an icon of the iconic figure in Joplin. It popped up after the tornado, and I think that as a community, it's one of those things that we expect to see now. It's something that's been there so long that it's important to our community.
The Downtown Joplin Alliance early Friday morning announced they were putting the auction on hold and that the panels would be put in storage for now. We reached out to Lori Hahn with the DJA. She provided us a statement saying that community response didn't really influence this change. Hahn says they decided there might be other options and the Alliance wanted to take some time. She added, quote, "We know this is a meaningful piece for the community and want to make sure we don't act in haste." As for that future, Bard says one thing is clear.
They need to stay together. 52 panels, I think the intentions were pure, but keeping them all together is the most important part of it, I think.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Downtown Joplin Alliance says the owner of the building the mural was on is preparing space to feature rotating displays of local artists' works. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Ukrainians are vowing a fight to the end after Russian officials warned Ukraine's last troops in the southern port city of Mariupol would be, quote, eliminated after failing to surrender. On CBS's Face the Nation, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said the Russian seizure of the city could mean an end to the future peace negotiations with Russia. As COVID-19 cases rise again in the Northeast, today Philadelphia is set to become the first major U.S. city to reimpose its indoor mask mandate. Some local businesses and residents have filed suit in state court. They say the city does not have the authority to reimpose face covering rules. And more than a month after it ran aground in the muddy Chesapeake Bay, a container ship called the Ever Forward has finally been pried free outside of Baltimore. Attempts to dislodge the vessel were unsuccessful until crews removed about 500 containers and refloated the ship with help from barges and tugboats. Michael, that may be where your Christmas lights are.
Do you know that that's the sister ship of the one that was stuck in the Suez Canal?
Yes, their names are very similar.
Same company. Figure it out! Never did get my Christmas lights. Cool today, high around 60 degrees. We'll get a little afternoon sunshine. Rain kicks in Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for letting us put the good in your morning. More news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.